Uh-huh. Alright. Okay. Alright, hello, it's me. Who am I? I don't know. I could say something cheeky, but I'm not going to. I could say I'm Darren Brown. I could say, I've lived with a really intelligent psychopath for a lot of years. Okay, so anyways, let's eat some apples. And contrary to popular belief, that psychopath is not TSD, it's Travis. And he happens to be someone I love very much. Tonight was eventful. I had a very bad day today. I didn't start feeling good until like 8 p.m. or something, which is my normal time. And I drank electrolytes today, which were amazing. Oh my god. My blood pressure right now is amazing. If I didn't take those electrolytes, I'd be very dehydrated right now. I'd be extremely tired. What those did is they sent a signal to my brain that told my body to stop peeing. So normally, I'd have to drink 10 liters of water a day just to stay hydrated. Now I drank 4.5 liters today. And my spread is basically 2 points below where it should be. Today I did... Well, who cares? I don't give a shit. I'm just happy I'm happy. I watched a video by Tua Pre. I think he's getting stalked. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, he is really funny. And I was feeling horribly depressed today. But I managed to fight. This is crazy, you know, you'll never even imagine this. So you know DJ Cyber? He killed Felix. Took his mask. Well, DJ Cyber came back. And he fucking, trapped this girl named Vinyl with blue hair. And I, Red, said I could take you one-on-one. And DJ Cyber said, if that's what you really think, ... I started to tremble. If that's what you really think, meaning he's going to challenge me. And he did. He said, okay, challenge accepted. And he has this spider machine, like Wild Wild West. He gets in a big spider and he shoots records out. He's shooting all these records at me. I'm doing jump kicks. I'm deflecting his records. Because that's how he cut my head off, by throwing a record at me. Like, he's DJ Cyber. He throws records at, he beheads people with records. You're not going to believe this game, okay? This game spoke to me on levels that were so deep. The main character, his name is Faux, F-A-U-X. He has blonde hair and blue eyes. Looks just like TSC. Anyways, so I'm Faux. But DJ Cyber cuts my head off. They replace it with a robotic head. My crew replaces it with a robotic head, which is red, and they call me Red now. And so now I'm searching for my head. But word on the street is DJ Cyber, who killed Felix, who was the best tagger, has my head. He has it in a vat. And I can get it replaced. I can go to the Flesh Prince. The Flesh Prince can put my head back on for me. But I just got to get it from DJ Cyber. DJ Cyber says, okay, you think you can challenge me? Go ahead. He gets in his big fucking machine, starts throwing records at me. I don't even understand what I'm supposed to do. Every time I get near him, he jumps away. And then, just by accident, I kick the records in the air. I'm like mid-air, doing like jumping kicks and stuff, doing tricks. And he throws a record at me. It hits the record, deflects it, shoots it back at him. Then his cage opens, like in Avatar. The guy with the scar on his face, you know, like fighting Jake Sully at the end in that machine. The glass opening opens. DJ Cyber's opening opens. And then I go kick his ass. I do that a bunch of times. And I need to like put these apple cores somewhere. And I defeat DJ Cyber. And he starts laughing. And he says, when? Hold on, what's going on here? I don't know where. He says, when? I look at him, all I say is an exclamation mark back. This game is subtitled. I just say exclamation mark. He says, when are you going to realize? He takes off his mask. And it's someone from my own crew. Then I wake up and I punch him. And he says, okay, I deserve that. But guess what? We all set you up. Your own crew, we set you up. Because you've been having these blackouts. And you are actually Felix. We've been trying to make you remember who you are. And DJ Cyber says, you know who's really out to get us is Foe. DJ Cyber cut his head off. And then the police took his head, but only after it had been attached to a robotic body. So he has his head in a vat on a robotic body, and he's feeding the police misinformation about us. And he's trying to kill every single tagger. And he already killed Dot X, a tagger who had a pool ball as a face. And then this woman cop with 2 stripes down her face, who I had a feeling that she wasn't corrupt. She's getting information from Foe. And then all these cops behind her, their eyes turn red. And she's investigating what Foe is saying. But she's onto things. She's like, you know, she's not corrupt. And the commissioner, he's just a dunce. You know, you can't trust anything he says. But he's just an idiot. So the real woman in charge is this woman with 2 stripes down her face. Looks like 2 scars. She wears a jetpack. And then she now realizes Foe just had the goons, the evil police, abduct her. And so underneath Red's mask, he takes his mask off. He's actually Felix. I started to cry. It was one of the most unbelievable moments I've ever experienced. I said after that, imagining a bunch of people on Reddit were reading what I was writing, I said, this is the best game ever made. It really is. I mean, and I don't mean to be reverse racist against everyone who's not Japanese, but something clued me in. The voices, when they're doing the voices of the characters. I mean, I know it's subtitled, but they say once in a while, they'll go, yeah, uh-huh, really? Like just one word, you know, it'll be like a whole paragraph of dialogue written, but they'll say like one word, like, oh. I thought, I think this is an impression of white people and black people by Japanese people. But one of the people in our crew is Asian too. So, and then, you know, the music, a lot of the music is Japanese, or like at least one song. Like after I thought that, then I heard a song that sounded Asian. I don't know if it's Japanese, but you know, we gotta find out. Hi, computer. Do you know the game Cyberpunk Bomb Rush? Who made that? Is it Japanese people? Yes. Oh wait, who made it? It was Team Reptile. Are they Japanese? No. Team Reptile is actually a Dutch studio based in the Netherlands. Okay. Well, I think I did detect an accent. I just couldn't detect what it was. However, your instinct linking it to Japan makes total sense. The game is designed as a direct spiritual successor to Sega classic Dreamcast cult classic Jet Set Radio, which was made by a Japanese studio. What? Smilebit. Team Reptile even brought on Hideki Nagunama, the famous Japanese composer who did the iconic music for Jet Set Radio, to help write the soundtrack for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Okay. Yeah, the soundtrack is unbelievable. Now, is it better than Jet Set Radio? Maybe. Maybe not, though. Jet Set Radio is unbelievable. You know, this game is more westernized, I think, but it's still good. I was reading about or listening to an audio podcast about coercive control today. When it's in an intimate relationship where whatever you write, there's keystroke logging software. Whenever you say hi, your intimate partner terrorizes you as a way of controlling you. And apparently it's illegal in like every country except for Canada. This is what Sam Vaknin was saying. But he said soon it'll be illegal in Canada. You have 24/7 monitoring. You can't say hi to someone. You can't open the door. You might want to drink wine. Your partner says no. And the threats ramp up to violence eventually. You can't go to the bathroom with the door closed. Full 24/7 monitoring. Sam Vaknin says this is exclusively for intimate couples, long-term intimate couples. I was like, what about kids? I can think of a lot of kids with parents like that. You know, I like Sam Vaknin because he's a targeted individual, so he understands. I think he is. He could be a fake. But, you know, he covered it. He said ideas can be gang stalked. Institutions can be gang stalked. People can be gang stalked.
Voice, could you talk just a little bit?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize. Give you some ASMR chewing. You know, I was looking forward to tonight. I was looking forward to this conversation having. It was one of the reasons I didn't crank off my tack today. You're going to have a better video if you don't do that. Also, I was like, don't watch porn, obviously. You're trying not to jack off. Don't watch porn, stupid. I was like, you know what the most dangerous words in the English language are? I know. Yeah, I know. No, but really, don't do it. And finally, I was about to do it again. I was like, don't do it. I was like, okay. What then? Horrifying depression? You know what you want? You know what would have happened? I would have cranked off my tack. I would have come back into your impression. But I would have had a feeling of life being exactly as I want it to be. In a weird way. In a fantasy way. But in a tactile way too. A physical sensation. For just a split moment. I wouldn't have prolonged it. I would have said, I wanted to do this as fast as possible. Perfect. Because that's the best way. I want to chug my Coca-Cola. And then I was like watching Tuapri, and he was on like this health kick for a while. And then he went back to making videos and smoking weed. Like he was doing videos about health and no one watched. I mean, I felt like he was doing that just for me. I don't think he knows who I am. But on the spirit level, that's the meaning I made. He's like, look, I'm doing videos about health and fitness, and every single comment I get is a hate comment. No one likes it. But he did it for a long time. And now he does his other stuff, but he's still jacked. I would have cranked off my tack. And I would have returned my socks on Amazon to get enough money to go get pakora and chana masala and naan bread from the Bombay Sizzler. I would have spent $35 on pakora and tamarind sauce. Because the pakora they have at Freshco is not good. It's too spicy. I was so happy. You couldn't imagine how happy I was to find pakora. I was overjoyed. But, you know, nothing compares to the Bombay Sizzler pakora. And I'd be high as a kite. I thought, you know what you should also do is smoke weed. I was like, who are you going to make a video for? Nobody. You don't even have the guts to watch, to read the comments. Because you're going to get hate comments. Who are you making it for? Like people who don't even like you? I was like, you don't know that. Maybe there's someone who likes watching it as much as you like making it. You have 127 subscribers. Maybe you have real friends in those subscribers. Maybe there are other TIs watching who feel completely alienated and isolated. And you're at least one person who doesn't offer them advice and just hangs out. But one thing is for sure. Are you congested? No. Why not? Because you're not dehydrated. And so I was like, yeah, make the video. And suddenly I'm congested again. This is going to be a lot better if you don't jack it. I was like, fuck, I don't care. I was like, I don't even feel loving at all. I don't even have hope. I don't have any hope. I feel helpless. I feel useless. I feel cowardly. I feel too cowardly. But then again, you know, fuck that. No, that's not true. Okay. That's not true. I feel too cowardly for what? That if Dance Girl doesn't meet me, that I'm going to be too cowardly to go to the bar and just do cold approaches. But I've done that before. But I mean, I'm like burnt out, you know, like it fucking sucks. And so I felt like my life's going to be a waste. I'm doing all this bullshit for nothing. This is all vicarious. You know, you're really good at doing push-ups. Well, who cares? A lot of people chase what makes them miserable. And they avoid what makes them happy. That's what I heard today on a lecture. I said, yeah, that's me. I'm sitting here eating apples, melting away, wasting away. And I don't care about this at all. And then I thought of my grandma, who she just lays on the couch all day. I thought, yeah, I guess that's me too. I took a strange pride in it. I said, yeah, I'm a loser. I never believed it when I said this is a losers club. But I said, yeah, that's what it means to be a loser. You just sit on your couch all day. I'm a couch potato. So what? I thought, yeah, cool. Yeah, good. I'm a couch potato. My life's passing me by. Well, I just want to lay on the couch. Cool. I wonder if women are frustrated. You know, if women are like, why don't, where are all the good guys? It's like they're dead. You've killed them. You've murdered them. But anyway, it wasn't spiteful like that. But I haven't listened to music in a long time and gotten into it. Isn't that sad? I miss that. Oh. Oh, well, I think I got some good signs from Dance Girl today, but I'm not exactly sure. Ooh. There's apple socks. I don't want to eat this apple. I don't like this apple. Oh my God. Yeah, there's so much food I would eat right now. I'd eat like fucking, sushi. Go to fucking Bombay Sizzler. Yeah, so hopefully I don't have a congested voice tonight. I think the more hydrated I get, I won't be congested. So where was I? Feeling depressed, embracing my loserhood, getting some good signs from Dance Girl, wondering if I'm a coward and my life is passing me by, thinking I don't have the guts to ever do anything, and then thinking, no, it's not true. You've had the guts to go on a date with Dance Girl. You've had lots of guts. So your life isn't necessarily ruined. And yeah, you don't really listen to music as much as you used to. And then, oh God, I feel like you're going to turn the video off now. It's getting so boring. Definitely self-critical right now. Now if my voice gets congested, it's going to be really bad. At least I have that. At least I have this. At least I have that. I'm not all bad, You should pay attention to me. You should listen to me. Please listen. Somebody please listen to me. Won't anybody listen to me? Hello, is anybody there? Or I'm just talking to no one now. At least you're seeing the real me. At least this, at least that. All isn't lost. At least this. At At least I'm crazy enough to not act like you're watching me. At least I'm crazy enough to just talk to no one in front of you. Just talk to myself when you're here. Like talking about you in third person when you're in front of me. I just talk to myself in front of you. Makes no sense. Well, yeah, I'm like, I don't know, I'm scared of Dance Girl. You know, I'm like, yeah, there's that. But I was like, you know, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. You know, even, you know, because there's kind of like a fear, like if she meets me, I got to do everything she says or she's going to kill me. Or like harass me. Like we got like phone calls today. I don't know, I was reading about this course of abuse. Like it's like a technical term when it's like someone monitors literally 24/7 everything you do. And then they use terrorism to control your behavior. And I was like, okay, so that's my relationship with Dance Girl. And hearing someone narrate it out loud, it sort of validated me a lot. And I was like, you know, if you meet her, you're gonna be, you know, you're submitting to like, you know, to that. And I was like, not really. Like, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And then if she like says she's gonna kill you, she's, you know, then let her kill you. Like, you know, it's not the same as having to do anything she says. You know, and then what you're really afraid of then is that she's going to leave you and that you're in a trauma bond. And so if she's too abusive, then, you know, she'll wave it over your head. She'll say, well, you said I could be abusive as long as I don't cheat. You know, it's like, well, does that mean you can just literally punch me in the face 100 times a day? Like, just, and nothing else? Like, you know, if the good signs today were hoovering, and again, I don't know, it could have just been plainly her harassing me and someone else giving false positives. But something of my power came back today. You know, I've been completely depersonalized or dissociated for years, and I've been getting it back in little chunks. And I've said this a million times, you know, today I got my magic back. But, you know, when you're basically kidnapped, it's like, it takes away your essence. You know, you basically sank the brainwaves with your captor. And so I was getting out of that today, and it was really good hearing Sam Vaknin talk about coercive abuse, or I think it's called coercive abuse. And I was like, oh, that's what my relationship is. And I was wondering if Dance Girl has any understanding of this, like if it just goes right over her head, or if she feels embarrassment, like if she has the capacity to feel embarrassed. And, you know, my dad said to me one time, I forget what I was doing, but he's like, that has to be embarrassing. And he was like, I'm not judging you. I'm saying, like, that needs to embarrass you. The thing you're doing, if you're not embarrassed by that, you have, like, serious problems. And I was wondering if, you know, I didn't even know what he was talking about. I think I did have serious problems. But, yeah, I sometimes wonder if that's Dance Girl. And then if she threatens to kill me, that's not really what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid more so of giving away my power, of saying, I really don't want to do this, and I think this is a really bad idea, and I don't like this at all, but I'm afraid of you leaving me. So that's why I'm going to do it. And that's what all victims in a narcissist relationship who are codependents. And so it's a 50-50. Like when you're a codependent with a narcissist, you're also idealizing the narcissist. The narcissist has a shared fantasy with you, and it's shared. You also share the fantasy, and you both parent each other. And so the narcissist says, you're my mom now, and you're all good and you're all wonderful. And you, as the codependent, you say back to the narcissist, you're also my mom, and you give me unconditional love. And that's what's so appealing about a narcissist, is that in the idealization phase, they love bomb you, and the only person who can ever give you unconditional love is a mother. And they can only give that to you in the first 2 or 5 years or something of your life, when their hormones change. And their hormones actually change to give you unconditional love. And so when a narcissist love bombs you, they give you unconditional love, and they make you basically larger than life. And so you feel very wonderful, and you feel very scared of them leaving you, because when you're with them, you just are the most important person in the world, and you say, I'll never find another person like them ever. No one will ever make me feel the way that they make me feel. No one will ever look at me the way that they look at me. And but then you're also sharing that fantasy. You're also idealizing them. And so you're very afraid then of being left. And a lot of times people say after they get discarded by a narcissist, who discards them like it was nothing, like it was a video game, like it was never real, like it was just, the whole thing was fake. And people say, I want to die so badly. I've never felt like I wanted to die, but now I want to die more than anything. And life has no meaning, everything sucks. And it's because you're internalizing them. Narcissism is addictive and contagious. And so you become a narcissist when you're with a narcissist, and you also internalize your idealized image of them. And internalizing it means that it becomes part of you. So when a narcissist discards you, it's like you're losing yourself. And when you mourn the narcissist, if you try to mourn the narcissist, you can't, because then you're mourning yourself. And so you get caught in this really fucked up loop. And then there's this thing called Thalian law, an eye for an eye, which is common in people who are codependents, that they want metaphorically or literally for their narcissist partner to die. And the narcissist knows this, but knows about Thalian law, which is intuitive, which is an eye for an eye. So if you want somebody to die, it backfires on you and makes you feel like you deserve to die too. And so this plays to the hands of the narcissist, that they make you so angry and you say, fuck you, I wish all this horrible stuff on you. But then at the same time, you're wishing it back on yourself. And so you get caught in this really horrible loop where you hate them and you need them to regulate your emotions, and you're terrified of them discarding you, and you can't set any boundaries then because you can't walk away, so they have all the leverage in the world over you. And you have real emotions, real empathy, and they are just pretending their empathy. And to them, it's just like a video game. And so they're just like, yep, see ya. Like instantly, they just flip on a dime. And so there's a whole process to mourning and grieving after being discarded by a narcissist. And it starts with self-love. You have to administer self-love to yourself. You have to have realistic self-awareness. You have to not lie to yourself. You have to have no closed doors within your psyche and emotions. You have to be able to go within yourself anywhere you want. There can't be any topic that's left off the table. Any impulse, any feeling, any thought that you have, it can't be shunned or repressed. You have to be able to go introspectively into any aspect of yourself. And you have to have attainable goals and a belief that you can achieve your goals. And the video's done. And I have to cough now. It really gets me fucking zippy. You know, maybe my voice is a lot deeper now. You know, maybe I got a better voice now. Would you like it if this was my voice? You have to have better goals and, you know, realistic goals that you can attain. And there were 2 other pillars of self-love that I can't remember. But, you know, they also said you have to get away from the narcissist. They said you have to go no contact and you have to move towns even. And for the first time, I thought if Dance Girl ends up, if she doesn't talk to me or if she ends up just terrorizing me, then moving to Baden wouldn't actually be a problem. I'd be like, oh, cool. Like, I can actually get on with my life. And whereas before I had a lot of pride, I was like, I'll never let them win. I'll never let them chase me out of town. And now I'm like, in a strange way, I learned a lot from Marina. And, you know, I wasn't so angry at her in the end. In the end, she was actually a better girl than I knew. You know, she flaked me. She dumped me by not even telling me we were broken up. And then I was like, hello. And she's like, oh yeah, I didn't tell you we broke up. Bye. And, you know, I was like, wow, you're so cold. You're such a bitch. You know, I can't believe how rotten you are. And she had done a lot of fucked up things too. You know, you know, who knows? I could be blaming myself. But one thing that she said was, you know, she had a stalker who was her ex-boyfriend, and he threw eggs at her dad's car, and he threatened to break my arm. And, you know, she was like, I'm scared of this guy. And somehow the power of women made it not lame to genuinely say, I'm scared of you, so I'm going to run away from you. Whereas I wanted to be tough. I wanted to be like, well, this is my town and I own this town, and what are you going to do? And at the same time, most women who get raped, they have to move towns, not for their rapist, but for all the other people in the town who judge them, who say it was your fault, who whisper things, who treat them differently. And you can always feel that. And I mean, this is what I heard from Robert Anton Wilson in an article he wrote. And I thought, well, what's the point of running too? I mean, it doesn't really even matter, but I thought at least moving to Baden wouldn't bother me. At least the idea of going somewhere new, it wouldn't bother me. Whereas before, when my mom first said it, I said, you know, I was thinking of Dance Girl's house, like, sad. I was mourning my proximity to her. And I felt like deeply saddened. And like, no, this is my town, you know. And then thinking of my grandma selling her house and moving to Baden with us, I just thought, oh, this is like, that's the house I wanted to die in. That's the house I grew up in. This house is me. You know, we should be like Travis's family. We should have houses in every city and just buy more houses and live in all of them. And, you know, I felt really relieved then that there was some time left to work things out with her before we move. And then today I was thinking, if things don't work out with her, moving would be cool. Like, I can live in any city. I can live in any town. Like, I'm a cool person. And it was the first time I felt that sense of freedom, like a sense of independence, which I haven't had in a long time. I felt like a slave for a long time. Like, I don't have even independent thinking. Like, I can't even think my own thoughts. I can't even, let alone say something. You know, I couldn't write in a journal. You know, I couldn't write freely in a journal. I have no privacy. You know, and hearing the course of abuse being validated for me, how this is a serious crime. And it was like, oh yeah, you know, do you see how far the Overton window has moved here? And apparently this is something common with narcissism, that they'll ask you to break your boundaries and do things that you wouldn't normally do and make it seem normal. And then they just keep pushing it. And their only goal is to devalue you and discard you, to take revenge on their mom. It reminds me of the guy in Hostel, Part 2, who has the rich girl in the end. And he's like mothering her. He's like, oh, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. And then he just punches her in the face. And, you know, you think for a minute that he really believes it. I don't know. And then I was thinking, what if Dance Girl's not a narcissist? Wouldn't that be so cool? Like, wouldn't that be like really cool? You know? Because I was thinking, do I even like her? Like, as a person? Like, not do I have a crush on her, but like, do I even like who she is as a person? If you know, she's like really criminal. Like she's really literally a criminal. And like the kind of criminal who, when you're a guy and you do that, you get raped in prison. And like the kind of criminal where you get raped for it, like that kind of criminal. And if you're a guy, and I'm like, that's like a sex criminal. Like that's like, you know, part of my fantasy, like being a femdom relationship. And I had seen this house on some kind of commercial. Like sometimes the commercials will have like a local house. They'll be like, hi, I'm Jay. I'm a local realtor here in Kitchener-Waterloo, and here's 297 Crest Street, or something like that. And I was imagining having a house with Dance Girl, but I was like a prisoner in it. And I was like, is that better than being alone? I was like, you know, that's like a prison. Like, is that better than being alone? And I was wondering, I wonder if she's not a narcissist. As far as I know, she's told me that she'll meet me alone. Today there was a white ABG girl Jeep thing, SUV, parked outside. And then a blue Mustang was parked in its place when it left. And then the other night there was a girl wearing all gray with a yellow Freshco, or yellow no frills bag. And to me that indicated that she would meet me alone on the street, on the sidewalk, up close, where I could say hello to her like a normal person. I thought, well, that's great. You know, if she's someone I like, that's great. It may have just taken approaching her in the right way. You know, sort of like in Avatar when you're connecting ponytails with a bird, it's going to try to test your boundaries as much as it can, which is very strange. I've wondered if I've done this too. If it's an unconscious thing. Narcissists are not Machiavellian. They don't do things like this the way a psychopath does. And so, anyways, I really don't know. But I think I'm in a healthy position to be with or without Dance Girl, which is reclaiming my autonomy, reclaiming my mind. I mean, I'm not there. I'm still fucked up. And even listening to music, I barely like it. I don't get into songs anymore. I may have romanticized them, and it may have been something about hope that I'd listen to songs and have grandiose images of myself and some kind of self-pity or self-aggrandizement, that I would feel like larger than life when I would listen to music. And I mistook that as being sentimentally artistic and having a love for creativity and the arts. But really, I was just having power trip fantasies or hopeful fantasies that of the idea of somebody, of meeting my most beautiful soulmate and living in the mountains or something like that. It could have just been a dream. It could have just been a hypnotic trance the music would put me in. And then I would have a beautiful dream. And maybe now I just can't dream anymore. Because dreaming itself is fucked. And I'm beyond it. I don't exactly know. But I need a new song. Yeah, but Sam Vaknin says to move towns. He says completely quit. If you work with them, quit your job. If you have kids with them, it doesn't matter. Go no contact. If they're your own kids, don't talk to them. If it's your own family, don't talk to them. And it's like a matter of survival. That they'll destroy you till you're nothing. And I got it. I got that fucking treatment. I kept thinking if I go down far enough, it'll prove something to them and they'll stop. And eventually after years, I realized there's no level that they're going indefinitely. Something's not right about them. And, then I realized, okay, other people aren't like me. There are people who I didn't even know exist. And, that's shocking when you first realize it. You hear about it on TV. No one ever thinks that they're going to be the victim. You hear about people who are victims of crime, but you never think it's going to be you. And so when you meet someone who's horrifying, you never think that it's real. Not when I say meet someone who's horrifying, I'm not talking about Dance Girl. Okay, but in a sense, she has been horrifying. But yes, Travis said my brother Cash is horrifying. I said, "What do you think of him?" And he's like, "He's horrifying." And he had no patience for him. He was just like, I would never argue with that guy. Like, you're crazy for arguing with him. He's insane. And then finally I was like, yeah, I don't argue with him either now. I just, whatever he says, I just go, yeah, sure. You're right. Anyway, I'm going to go far away from you now. So I hope that's not Dance Girl. I was excited. There was like a lot of hope. There's a lot of close encounters we had. And as far as I know, she's agreed to come closer to me now. So that would be cool. And then if she doesn't, what then? Well, I'm already moving on with my life. Moving on from the trauma bond. So then it's just a matter of, then it's just another breakup. Getting broken up with by a narcissist or by someone with a trauma bond is not the same as being broken up with in a regular relationship. But yeah, I was pretty scared of what if she does meet you, and aren't you scared of her? I was like, yeah, but I don't mean to be repeating myself, but this made a distinction to me that you don't have to do anything you don't want. You're scared that if she wears a scream mask and stands in your peripheral vision on a roof of a house and whistles, and then you're supposed to know it's her and you're supposed to go climb up the roof, that if you don't do it, you're going to lose her. But if she does some weird shit, then you could just say, that's weird. I don't know why you're doing that. You know, you don't have to go crawl up the roof and crawl towards her and bark like a dog or something. And that's your real fear, is that you have to break your own boundaries for the fear of losing your shared fantasy with her. But you're already losing the shared fantasy, and you're already getting the autonomy back, which feels really good. Like, if you don't remember, it feels really good to be you. Like, you're a cool person, which is good for you. You know, the point of being a cool person is it's good. It's enjoyable to be you. Like, if people can feel how you feel, they'll feel good. And so losing that it's like having all your money stolen. You know, when you're in a trauma bond, and I'm talking about, there's a lot of people who have put me in this. It's like they steal something from you. It's like it's a sort of rape where they steal something from you. That's the most intimate, personal thing, and they take it from you. And then you have nothing. You know, and you think you don't even know what you're taking. Like, you don't even have this. That's why you're taking it from me. Not to take it, you can't transfer it, but you just don't like that someone else has it. And then to see that it actually is taken away, the amount of anger you have and rage, and you tell them why is it, you have righteous indignation, and they're just wiping the tears off your face to use them as lube. And you're like, who do I complain to? You want to complain to them. You want to yell at them. And they're going, yeah, but we're not even here. We don't even feel anything. It doesn't mean anything to us. To take away your life, it doesn't mean anything to us. It means less than nothing. And that's funny. That's really funny for us that you get angry. That's the only joy we get, is seeing you cry as we take your life. That's the only thing we even like. And I was reading the comments on these narcissist videos, and this one comment was like, once I realized that my narcissist ex was taking delight in my grieving, I started to live my best life, and I was happy then to take pride in living my best life, that it was so flooring to see that they were delighted at my suffering and my pain. Like I couldn't comprehend it. I was in denial. And so I had felt like that with Dance Girl, like she was visibly, enthusiastically happy with my terror and my suffering and my grieving. And it was like mind-blowing. And I'm, sometimes I wonder what happened to me at that point. Like, did I become a codependent? Did that make me a codependent? At some point, you can't pull back. People say, and I was one of these people, if a woman gets physically abused by her boyfriend more than once, I say, well, you stupid, retarded bitch. You get everything that you deserve. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You should have left. But there's something psychological that happens where it changes how you think, that you lose your agency. I mean, by the time someone's beating you, they've already terrorized you covertly with a wink and a nod thousands of times. They've already love bombed you and hoovered you, and every step of the way you're losing your agency. You're losing your ability to think clearly. Where eventually you say, I'm not even myself. I don't even feel like I know how to determine up from down. The most basic reasoning I have to look to my partner for. And so you can't pull back sometimes. You're too lost. You're too gone. You're too traumatized. You're too dependent. And the traumatizer often has no idea what they're doing too. They're acting out some unconscious thing that they learned when they were 16 months old. And it's horrifying. It's like you're dealing with a literal child who is in an adult body and who has no self-awareness. And so you try to explain it to them and they don't get it. It's lonely. I'm sure this is universal to some extent with parents. Everyone knows what it's like to live in a different age. There are some people who have no age gap. My dad, for example, he has no age gap. Osho has no age gap. But in general, people get more stupid as they age. People usually die when they're about 20. Like on the inside, they die. And then they start getting more stupid after that point. And I think universally, everyone knows right from birth that their parents are idiots. And there's such a gap that the gap is too big. And so anyone, or anything, I mean, that is important to you or near or dear to your heart or damaging you, if you try to talk to your parents, you just can't do it because they don't understand. And worse yet, they don't know that they don't understand. They don't just say, I wish I could understand you, but I don't. They go way further than that. That would be forgivable. That would be understandable. There would be a lot of trust there. If you said, I feel like you don't understand me. And they said, I trust you. I believe that I don't understand you. I'm really sorry I don't understand you. I wish I could. That would be understandable. But instead they go, I fully understand you. I understand you more than you understand yourself. And let me tell you what you gotta do. You're a real whiz on that computer, son. You know how to install Microsoft Word? You should be a tech genius. You should go get a job at Microsoft. Or, some this is what I heard on a YouTube video, what it's like talking to a boomer. But I mean, this is a universal thing. Don Morganson was a professor, maybe he still is, and he was my favorite professor. And there was no age gap with him too, and he was like 80 something. But it's rare. Those people are very rare. Well, those people are people who never died inside. And when you're in a trauma bond, you die inside. And that's kind of different than being a narcissist. Being a codependent is becoming a narcissist in your adulthood. And being a narcissist is being a codependent when you're in infancy. And so at least a codependent has the ability to remember that I used to be an adult. I used to have agency. And I barely remember what it's like. I'm so gone. I'm so lost. And I live just around the corner. So, I don't know how things are going other than up. But today was one of the, I don't want to jinx it because today was one of the most depressing days of my life. It was horrifying. Today was like one of the worst days of my fucking life. Well, yesterday was too. Today it just took a little longer to get out of it. Yesterday I got out of it by like 5 p.m. Usually I get out of it by like 8 p.m. at least. Today I got out of it by like 8 or 9 p.m. It was like 9:30 actually. I didn't have a nap. And today everything was going so well too. On paper, all my goals were going absolutely swimmingly. I added these electrolytes into my water. And it was fucking... It was very beautiful. Loosen this foreskin restoration device. I did laundry today. Oh, fuck. Don't censor me, YouTube. This is not sensuous. I'm not sure why I had such a bad day. I did something I regretted. I looked out the window at Stella. She was cleaning her car. She woke me up. I was feeling really angry. And then I wanted to see how beautiful she is. But from a weird perspective, from the perspective of her exploiting me, torturing me, it was like it was appealing in a perverse way that she's getting off on this. And that made me aroused. And so in that spirit, I looked out the window at her, secretly, knowing, of course, everyone would know. And then, afterwards, she slammed her door like 15 times, and her and Jamie honked. Like, we saw you looking. We know you looked at me. And I was like, how beautiful are you? I mean, that goes both ways, doesn't it? How beautiful. I wanted to see how beautiful are you. Who is this person torturing me? Are you all that? Are you even a 10? But I felt very dirty about it. I felt like it was completely for the sake of arousal. Never mind how beautiful she turned out to be. It was that intent. But it was provoked. It was angry. It was, you just woke me up. I'm underslept now. And the universe gave me a gift. She was wearing purple and black, meaning she was saying, I'm sorry for doing this. And I thought, now I can pass this off as I was just checking to see what colors she was wearing. And then I thought, how do you know that that's not what you were actually doing? And that it just so happens to turn you on to be abused by women. Which is incidental to this. How do you know that you don't hate Jamie for spraying mud on the window and shining his truck light in our kitchen window for a year? And you want to verify that after all these years of never once sneaking a peek at Stella, all these years talking about how wonderful she is, how beautiful she is, and not even once looking at her when she's obviously out in the driveway and I could open the window just a crack to see. And just recently, when Jamie woke me up the last time, I said, it looks like he's wearing purple and turquoise, like my phone. But really, he was wearing purple and blue. And purple would be an apology color if they're spying on me and they know everything I'm saying, which I imagine they are. And then the next time I get woken up by Stella, who's then in the driveway, I wonder what she'll be wearing. And furthermore, I wonder if it's intentional, because Stella reminds me that she's inadvertently honest. that she's either in a coercive, abusive relationship. Like when I went to her work and I stared at one of her coworkers, she spit at the guy who works there behind his back. She made a spitting motion at him, who looked like Jamie. And she did a hitting motion at him too, like she was hitting him. And the implication would be that Stella's in a coercive, abusive relationship. And I was thinking, what if what she wears now, because just this week or the last time I got woken up by them, I made a video about it. I had been looking at Jamie when he was out in front of our house, talking about what he's wearing and what does this mean. And now here's Stella waking me up, and now she's in the driveway. So does she know that I might see her now? This would be the time. So what's she wearing? Black shorts, purple shirt. And did she do that on purpose? She reminds me that she's inadvertently honest, or that she's burping her evil. And I thought, what your intent is, your conscious intent, has nothing to do with your unconscious. What if the reason you looked out the window after all these years and all these times, that now you had set it up like Darren Brown? You had given the precedent now. That unconsciously or consciously, she knows that this time it matters what she wears. This time what she wears indicates something. And then how ironic would it be that, does she know what purple and black means? I would guess yes. Does she know what purple and black means because someone has told her that as part of her job? Or because for her own enjoyment of watching, she has discerned what it means? And is she burping her evil? She's admitting. Honking and slamming the doors like 50 times after she got home. Saying, I know what you did. I know you looked at me. I know you looked at me. And then Jamie honking his horn too. Like, hey, I'm here. I'm the man. I'm like, how would you know that I looked at you? You're spying on me in the house. That sounds a little bit repressed. But I felt dirty about it until I started hearing all those doors slamming and the double honk. And then I thought, you shouldn't be so quick to label your own intent, because you weren't really thinking about it. It was kind of an unconscious decision. And sure, it was opportunistically arousing, but don't say that that's the reason why you did it. Or just say it was a coincidence. She just happened to be wearing that color scheme. And you just happened to look out the window after priming it with the pretext of saying what Jamie was wearing last time. And then I worried about Dance Girl getting angry. I was like, well, then just lie. Say that you were only verifying what she was wearing to see if she was apologizing, to see if she was a friend, to see if she's Jamie's hostage. As she only has one kid with Jamie because she realized he's a monster and she can't escape him. But who cares? What are you going to do about it? Are you like a hero or something? Well, I'm a gossip, obviously. I mean, when they were walking home by me, Jamie and Stella were walking distant from each other. And she was wearing black sunglasses. They weren't even walking beside each other. What kind of couple does that? And when Jamie waved to me and I didn't wave back, then he sprayed mud all over our window. Do you think he was going to do it anyway? Or do you think he had narcissistic injury? And what's the deal with their coworkers spitting and hitting at the guy who works at their shop who looks like Jamie? What would the implication of that be? And what's up with women concealing ovulation from themselves? Why would women conceal ovulation? From themselves, from other people, but from themselves too. So, yeah, I basically was angry and I looked at Stella to see how beautiful she is. And then when she was slamming her door, I thought, you're a child. Or you're trapped in a coercive, abusive relationship. And then I worried that Dance Girl's going to be really angry at me. I was like, I don't know what to do. She shouldn't be spying on me. It brought up a whole other issue that Dance Girl shouldn't know that I did this. The fact that she knows that I did this. I mean, in law, there's something that if you obtain evidence in an illegal way, the case gets thrown out, even if the person is actually guilty. When you obtain evidence in an illegal way, the person still gets the not guilty verdict because it implies that your intrusiveness is coercive. And so I wanted to argue it, like, why would she be mad at me? Why would Dance Girl be mad at me for this? She shouldn't even be spying on me to begin with. And if she's mad at me for this, from spying on me, then I'm not that trauma bonded that I'm afraid. But something about that made me feel really dirty. I think it was that I felt afraid of Dance Girl for it. I thought, oh great, she's going to find out about this. And thank God that Stella's wearing purple and black. That's existence giving me a freebie. And then I thought a little bit more about it. I'm like, Well, you're clever. You're more clever than you realize. Thinking this about myself, that you underestimate yourself. Well, maybe it's a coincidence, but maybe not. You also should ask these questions. Of all the years, why now? Why did you sneak a peek just now for the first time after all these years? And what are the odds that at that time it would be certain colors that are just a coincidence? What are the odds of that? How long ago did she know she was going to clean the car? When was the first thought that it should get cleaned? How much stuff was left in the laundry? Were there lots of clean clothes left, or was that the last pair? I'd want to ask these questions. But also not, well, no, I did. I wanted to ask those questions. Because a lot of what we do is unconscious. I say, well, that's just a coincidence. And that wasn't my plan. Are you sure about that? Are you sure you even understand yourself? Like, have you figured yourself out? Are you aware of your motivations? But anyways, I've decided I might play brown noise and pink noise together. Pink noise is higher range for the mids. Kind of helps with horns. I talked to a girl on Reddit today. Well, I didn't know her or anything. I just made a comment. I was on a subreddit called Neighbors from Hell. I wanted to see if anyone else was getting horn harassed. And I was just reading through some of the posts, and this one girl says her neighbor's kids talk about everything that she does. They follow her from room to room. They follow her to the grocery store. And most of the comments, it was pretty obvious she was being gang stalked, and she has no idea what gang stalking is. And most of the comments, presumably who are gang stalkers, were saying, this is really fucked up. You should do this, you should do that. And then a couple of them were saying, you sound crazy. And I said, you're probably gang stalked, and you should check out alternative homesteading on YouTube. And I felt like just by fluke, all this pain I went through today with looking out the window, feeling ashamed, feeling embarrassed, feeling humiliated, feeling demeaned, and liking it. Well, what came of it? You got to tell a random stranger with no effort at all something that can change their entire life. You're like a billionaire who just gave a taxi driver a $200,000 tip, and now they can buy a house or something. Like you totally changed someone's life, like randomly, without even, maybe that's the meaning of all this suffering you went through today. But I think a lot of it was just feeling pride and kind of shame. Feeling like, oh, they caught me. You know, oh, they're going to know. Just waiting for it. Oh, what are they going to do? They're going to know. And I'm just all alone over here. And I was really catastrophizing. People who aren't married and people who don't have touch, they die way sooner. Or I don't know about way sooner, but they die sooner. They commit suicide. Like 10% of people with borderline commit suicide. People who struggle very hard to have relationships but can't, they isolate, they commit suicide, they die sooner, they're not happy, they retire sooner. And I was thinking, oh great, I'm going to be alone forever. And here I am sneaking a peek at Stella while she's encouraging my suicide and taking delight in her beauty being inaccessible to me, and torturing me. And isn't that humiliating? I thought, not really. You know, and then feeling also very scared of what Dance Girl's going to do. And then finally I was like, yeah, I don't know what to say. I was like, let them be mad. Let Dance Girl be mad. Then I wanted to lie to Dance Girl and say, yeah, I was just verifying what she's wearing to see that she's really sorry, and she swears she's sorry. And now I can tell the neighborhood watch that Jamie is a coercive, abusive partner. That, as I started thinking about it, I thought, you know, that might be true. That might actually be literally what did happen. I'm like, imagine that, like Dance Girl cheats on me, and then I'm afraid of looking at someone who called my attention to them. I don't even know if Dance Girl likes me, and I'm afraid of looking at someone who called my attention to them. You know, and the reason I'm afraid of it is because Dance Girl's watching me on hidden camera in my room. I'm like, this is like so coercive. Like, this is so negating. This negates that. If she was angry at that, her spying on me negates that. But, you know, she won't see it like that. But I was like, you know, I don't know what to say. I was like, I guess, if she marries Shark Eyes, I wouldn't be jealous. But I don't know how she feels about looking at other people. I think what really upset me today, what was really difficult today, was I was dishonest with myself. I was thinking deep down, there's no shame in this. This is actually healthy. And you're so caught up in double binds. Thank God you're not in a coercive, abusive relationship. And if you are, thank God it's not going to last. Thank God you do this. I thought Stella was slamming her car door a bunch of times to brag that I know you did that. Or to humiliate me. But I don't see it as humiliating to begin with. I think it's kind of ironic too. It's like saying, I can look at you, but you can't look at me. And I don't like you. I'm only looking at you to show how much I don't like you. I pulled a Stella. I'm only looking at you to see that you're sorry. That's why. I was like, this feels as sick as you guys. At least I can say I looked at you because you're beautiful. But anyway, and if Dance Girl's watching and she's not a narcissist and she plans on meeting me on equal terms, this is kind of different than just, professing love to someone. This kind of happened inadvertently. I don't want to have to be. I was thinking of my godmother, and she said the thing about lying is you can never remember what your lies are. If you don't lie, you never have to remember what your lies are. You never have to be Machiavellian. And so I think that's what made my day so bad today. I was going down a dark path. I was trying to placate Dance Girl and trying to fight with Stella and Jamie. Trying to get the one up on them. And it strangely felt disgusting. It was like, it's actually better to lose. Better to lose the fight and be honest. It's like being Neo at the end of The Matrix Part 3. He's like, you're right, Agent Smith. You win. Evaporate me now. It's like being Eminem at the end of 8 Mile. I know everything you got to say against me. I am white. I am a fucking bum. I do live in a trailer with my mom. So I think that's what went wrong today. Today was a really fucking difficult day. Like really unimaginably difficult. And I fucking had some great news too. And I've always had confidence. Now, if Dance Girl's listening, don't take this the wrong way. If Dance Girl doesn't talk to me. I've always thought about, why do I have so much insecurity going to a bar? I one time was reading this book called The Game by Neil Strauss. And Topher did in his comedy routine at Yuck Yucks when I was in the audience that anyone who reads about pickup should get stabbed in the eye with a screwdriver. And everyone laughed and cheered. And I was like deep into it. I was reading all these books. I was downloading all these books. And we went out to the bar once, and Topher says, it's all bullshit, right? If it's not bullshit, then let me see. And I really felt the pressure. And so I went around the bar, and I found these two blonde girls. And I brought them over to our table, and we took them home. And I didn't have a condom, but I got face sat by one of them. And then we drove them to like some place in the city the next day and just dropped them off. And I was like really scared. Like Topher's like, you know, you're a fucking loser. All this stuff is bullshit. And I was like, oh yeah? Okay. Like, I have to prove it now. They were hot enough. They weren't the most. They were hot though. Topher had this super expensive house. This woman, it was in this area where only Jewish people lived in Toronto. It probably cost like $4 or $5 million. And this woman who had seen Topher's stand-up had fallen in love with him. And she said, you should come live with me. We have a whole apartment downstairs. You'll have your own sauna. And so Topher had this place with this guy who's the cousin of Justin Bieber, who was like, he had this one joke. He's like, you know all those guys who used to beat me up in high school who joined the military and went to war? I'm like, you're like, ha ha, I beat you up. And I'm like, ha ha, I have my legs and I'm self-aware. And this guy was like really angry because their landlord came down one night without wearing pants or panties and just wearing a t-shirt with her pussy out. And I think he had been, I don't know, he was the type of person who didn't take kindly to that. She asked him for a hug or something. And when Topher would drink, he would get so angry. This guy, his roommate, would get so angry at Topher, like, you know, you're in Alcoholics Anonymous. Now Topher's a counselor at a rehab place. But he would just be like furious at him. And no one would hold Topher accountable because he's just such a weasel. You know, he's so good at arguing. He's so slippery. You could never get him in an argument. He'll remember every mistake you've ever made if you try to criticize him about anything. And so I had wondered, why am I so nervous? And there were times where I wasn't. But I sort of wondered if it was because I had been circumcised. I mean, it sounds really all or nothing thinking that you mean all your self-esteem issues is just because you're circumcised? Yeah, literally, exactly. Like, imagine a woman having her clit cut off and her G-spot cut off and a speculum left in her pussy. And so she can't have an orgasm. She literally can't have an orgasm. But she can release. But she can't have an orgasm. You know, it's just a sneeze, just a storm within a teacup. Imagine the inability to have depth. The inability to relate. And I think to some extent it was diet too. That ever since I was like 7, I was always saying, you gotta fucking work out. I was always making these workout plans. I was never doing them. But I was always watching movies like, I like Dennis Rodman and Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I always wanted to be, you know, a martial arts master, which I think every kid does. I think every boy wants to be the guy who kicks someone's ass. That's like the ultimate fantasy, you know, because you're gay and you want to fight guys. But, you know, when you're 7, you're gay. But you're onto something too, though. That maybe women are a little bit gay too, and so they like it when you're muscular too, or when you're fit, when you're healthy. There was something to it. When I was in high school, I would sometimes drink unbelievable amounts of water to the point where it was extremely dangerous. I would chug water like unbelievably to where I would do actual felt damage, like immediately felt damage. And because I had acne, it made me so angry. I got the Accutane stuff, Proactive Solution. I got some knockoff version of that at the mall. My mom bought it for me. It was expensive. I couldn't believe she bought it for me. It was like she understood me. I had felt like, of course, I'm not understood by anyone. And yet she bought this for me. It was like, it was like $40 or something. A Proactive Solution was like $120. This was like the knockoff version. And I don't even think I really asked for it. I was just like, yeah, I have this and that. And she's like, oh, well, this is the Proactive Solution stuff. But this is actually the best option. This is like the generic brand, but it's the same thing. So you actually need this. I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, like, you're not supposed to have acne. Like, that's embarrassing. I was like, I know. Yeah, I know. I obsess over this. She's like, yeah, I know. Like, you know, you don't have to bargain for this. This is like getting braces. Like, this one's on me. I was like, oh, I can't believe you understand that. You know, my grandma, she was like, don't get braces. You're nuts to get braces. That's too much. And, you know, but my mom, she bought that for me. You know, and then when I got cosmetic surgery, she was like, you know, why the hell are you doing this? Which she was right. You know, I really shouldn't have. My eyes are, I'm noticeably uglier ever since doing that. It changed the shape of my eye. I used to have anime eyes. I used to be more beautiful than I am. But whatever, the eyelid tape is close enough, and I don't care. But I had been rejected then, and so I had to get that. So I was thinking, if Dance Girl doesn't work out, what would you be so scared of? Why couldn't you just go to the bar? It actually terrifies you. It like mortifies you. And I heard this thing today, and it said most people, or often many people, pursue their misery. Ooh. Hold on, I gotta get... I thought, yeah, that's me. Okay. Got a song here. I think I have to make yellow. Well, you know what? This is good too, though, because I was honest with Dance Girl. At least now I'll get rejected or accepted based on the truth. And it goes both ways. You know, I wanted to tell her it matters how you behave, that whether I like you or not. Which, that's not something to tell people. That sounds very arrogant. But when someone threatens to kill you for not doing what they say, then she could be under the mistaken belief that if I talk to her, it means that I swear that we're going to be together forever. But that's not something that can ever be promised. You know, like I have to say that, like, because she thought I rejected her at the fuck shack. And that's not cool. Like, I'm trying to give her proper expectations that I can't be her slave. That's not to say I wouldn't love her forever. Anyway, I'm getting better at not really paying too much attention to the proxies. Today, like, I saw the blue Mustang, and I got some Durex commercials with a black guy and a blonde girl. I don't know what that's all about. I was like, I'm not even jealous. You don't even understand. I'm literally not jealous. It's like saying, you're my coworker, right? Well, guess what? I have other coworkers too. I mean, it hurts me though. Being cucked hurts me. Like being bullied hurts me. Being lied to hurts me. Being cheated on hurts me. Being given false expectations hurts me. Being given unfair power dynamics hurts me. Being used hurts me. Being scapegoated on hurts me. Being darvoed hurts me. Being exploited hurts me. Being punished and spied on hurts me. Being coerced hurts me. Being prevented from having life hurts me. Prevented from having freedom, relationships. Being bullied hurts me. Being terrorized hurts me. Somehow I feel safer at night talking. It's really weird. But I have a sort of buffer that I can be more free associative once it's 10 p.m. or whenever I start these videos. Because typically, if I were to say something that arouses dance girls or someone else's anger or someone pretending to be dance girl, then the police are going to go by and make their sirens go off. Then we're going to get a bunch of phone calls. Today we got 2 spoofed phone calls. And there's going to be cars parking in front of our house that symbolize assault and sexual assault, that basically threaten different kinds of assault and imply different kinds of assault have already happened. And depending on when it is, I'll get noise harassed with regular horns too. Motorcycles. I thought maybe that was why I looked out the window too. Just as yet another verification. I mean, I already told you the real reason, but when I was trying to think of other reasons to justify it, I thought it brings me comfort when my mom scratched her arm, like she was Dance Girl's gang stalker, like as in Dance Girl is her handler and she's a gang stalker. And she was implying that it was a TSB sweater. It's so personal, and to get that message from your own mom, you're like, what? And then I realized it doesn't even matter. I doubt she would even know what she would probably not even know who TSB is. She's the type who, if she were a gang stalker, she would just get the sign to scratch her arm, but she wouldn't look into it. She wouldn't be spying on me. It wouldn't mean anything to her. You know, if she could really talk freely, she would say, yeah, I got to do this because there's punishment if I don't, but I'm not invading your privacy. And these people are really bad. And this message doesn't come from me. I'm a captive here and I'm just doing this thing. This message comes from someone else. So don't think it has anything to do with you and I. And on some level, I had wanted to see that from as many people as I could. I'd question even if Jamie was saying, I'm also on that level where I don't like any of this stuff. I'm not an enemy to you. I thought his shorts were blue and his shirt was turquoise, not quite purple. But I thought, he has one of those crests, or I don't know what they're called, but I don't think it's a crest. But I don't know what it's called, but he has something hanging off his rear view mirror in his truck that looks like he's part of like the secret Knights, the Knights Watchmen or something. And so I thought he's probably all bought into that kind of stuff, like rituals and hierarchies. But I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But I had wanted to see people as not being part of it. And that had started to happen on my last bike ride, where I would see all these people doing signs of terrorism from what I had just said. I had believed I had made Dance Girl angry, and then she sent the police after me, and she sent the motorcyclers after me. And I felt like this time we're just told to do this and that. And somehow that made me feel a lot better, because I had felt like everyone is against me. I had done dichonistic thinking, where it's all or nothing, and the whole institution, the entirety of society, all the police, all the gangs, all the gang stalkers, all my family, all my friends, everyone is against me. And it took me a minute. I was like, snap out of that. Remember what you learned about a coercive abusive relationship? What are the defining features of it? The threat of life, that if you don't do what you're told, your ability to live, your ability to get food and shelter is impaired. So it's not personal. People are defeating it as quick as they can. Nobody likes being forced. No one likes being hassled. There are good handlers too. I mean, handling is a bad institution. Gang stalking is a slavery. It's like saying there are good slave masters. Like Christopher Waltz in Django. I live off the coattails of it too. Presumably, if my mom is a gang stalker. But she never offends me with it. Same with our tenant. And so on some level I thought, I'm just making sure that everyone is my friend, actually. Including Stella and Jamie. But then if Dance Girl told me something like that, I'd say, yeah, right. I didn't want to lie. But on some level, I thought, that it happens to be also true. Maybe I don't know my motives. But yes, I do. But maybe I don't know all of them. On some level, I thought, maybe I'm provoking Dance Girl here. Maybe that's the point. Maybe this is transference. I'm like, go ahead and get angry at this for spying on me in my room. Go ahead and punish me. I'd prefer it. If you want to dump me for this, if you want to terrorize me for this, at the price of our relationship, I'd prefer it. Better that than be a slave. I always said I'll never go down like that. Go down in some codependent relationship. Lonely as fuck, isolated, destroyed, desperate, cheesy. Oh, do you know what? Now that I'm fucking raw vegan, do you know how badly I want to make a pizza? I want to make my own vegan cheese and make a fucking pizza. I'm like, don't do it. I was like, you'd be better off jacking off. I said, really? You should jack off to not eat a pizza? That's the compromise you have to make? I was like, no, don't do it. Seriously, don't do it. You're so obsessed with not jacking off. You're actually using that as a red herring in a really good way. You're actually tricking your brain. You're focusing obsessively on not jacking off to distract yourself from the more difficult thing, which is eating not cooked food. The addiction to cooked food is much stronger than the addiction to jacking off. Not jacking off is easy as fuck compared to not eating cooked food. And I'm not hungry. I have good blood pressure. My blood pressure is 133 over 83. That's a 50-point spread. At 133 over 83, it should be a 54-point spread. So I'm just a little bit off. If it's not big enough, it means you're dehydrated. So I'm pretty close to being hydrated. And that's just on 4.5 liters of water today. So I was thinking, if I were to do another water fast, but use electrolytes this time, and drink 6 to 8 liters of water a day, I could have a perfect spread every single day. And I wonder then if I could get out the mucoid plaque that way. But then I was thinking, if you're going to do that, you can already have a perfect spread. Just eat the fruit and drink the water. And just do that for a month. You know, treat eating fruit and drinking water with the same reverence. Say, this is really important, and I'm going to do this just for a month. And who wants to do it for the rest of your life? Like, ew. Okay, do you know how much I miss pad thai? There was a Viet Thai restaurant. I saw a new one. I wanted to try their pad thai. Do you know how much I want to make a pizza with my own cashew cheese? But the problem with that is we had these probiotics that had 24 billion or 30 billion. And the ones we have now only have 12 billion. And they're not even the right ones. They're from Costco. And you just need like one pill. And so the 30 billion ones were really, really good to culture the vegan cheese. And I made like the best fucking cheese. Like, it was so good. And then it all got ruined when I put protein powder in it. I was like, I don't know how they do it, but when you're making vegan cheese, if you put protein powder in it, just enough to mimic the ratio of how much protein is in actual cottage cheese, for example. You know, I should see how much protein is in regular cheese. Okay, so wow, 22. Okay, like what percent and what percent protein is cottage cheese? So, regular mozzarella cheese is 22 to 28% protein. Cottage cheese is 10 to 13% protein. If I make vegan cheese of cashews, how much protein? What percent in cashews? Let me see how much protein is in cashews here. Get the fuck out of here, it's 18%, that's crazy. Oh, wait, no. Look, if you make cashews raw are 18% protein, but if you make dense, thick cheese using mostly soaked cashews and minimal water, it will stay close to 15 to 18% protein by weight. If you add a lot of water, tapioca starch, or plant milk to stretch the recipe, the overall percentage drops closer to 5 or 10%. So what I did was I added protein powder, and it made it grainy. It totally fucked the texture up, and all that stringy meltiness to it, it all just turned into this like grainy, gritty, like fucking goo. It totally ruined it. So I don't know how mozzarella has that much protein and it has that texture. It's crazy. But I wouldn't be adding my own, like maybe a spoon of protein. But I mean, the texture is just awful. And then just a bit of psyllium husk, and that gives it this mouthfeel. It gives it this congealing effect. And I've added too much of that too. But I mean, my liquid mozzarella it's unbelievable. And I feel like if you were an alien who came to Earth and you didn't even know what was what, you would ask for the vegan mozzarella. You'd say, this is much better. This is cultured. It has the same tang. It's missing what? Anything? Opioids? Cooked food has, I think, stuff that's analogous to opioids. I don't know if analogous is the right word, but I'm pretty sure cooked food has opioids in it too. Not exactly as potent, but cooked food is also extremely addictive. So right now though, if I were to make a pizza, I could make like a fucking amazing pizza. The bread I make focaccia bread, and it's so good. It's like 100% moisture. If I were to make a pizza, I could do it better than Red Swan. And they're a restaurant. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't culture your vegan cheese. You have to have some kind of issue. But vegans, I don't know any vegans who eat cultured cheese. You know, they all just get whatever's at the grocery store. They just get Daiya, whatever kind, Earth Balance, Follow Your Heart, Chow. Anyway, Alexa, second light black.
Are you trying to control the smart home light?
Alexa, second light black.
Okay.
I mean, I was so scared to go out for these walks. Scared I'm going to get stood up, or scared I'm going to get treated in a way that demeans me, that I give my power and consent to. No, you're not scared. You don't have to be scared of that. I thought I was a coward, as Dance Girl put it. You're too afraid to talk to a girl. I was like, no, I could talk to her. Which is good to know. Because I was like, am I too scared? Well, yes, but scared to break my boundaries. Yes. Apparently, when people leave a narcissist, they feel tremendously guilty. Like it's all their fault. I'd felt like that after Wilford Street, if that was Dance Girl on Wilford Street. But in hindsight, there's so many things that have had to have happened if she were to meet me now, before this. She's needed a lot of spacings. So I'm hoping I've shaped her up into a good pig. You don't find friends, you make them. Anyway, I'm so tired. I didn't have my nap tonight. I made my bed, did you know that? I make my bed now before I go on my YouTube channel. This way I can just plop right into bed. My wonderful blankets get me so wet. Get me rock hard. I'd like to go up there and crank off my teeny pecker. Some fat pog. But you know what? What? I was asking you. Oh yeah, I know what. That's a nightmare. Do you know that covert narcissists, they need to fail. They only feel comfortable failing. I know, I'm just falling asleep here. It's really difficult. But it's more difficult to talk about it. I saw this girl today on TikTok. Her name is Gen X Girl 1994. And all she ever does is talk about the news. But she sits with her legs up, spread eagle with a camel toe. and talking about how great Israel is. I thought she's really going to get... All right, never mind. I'm falling asleep here. What I'm saying doesn't make sense anymore. She's really going to get... me in trouble. No, that's not... She's famous. She doesn't know who I am. What was I going to say? Did I tell you what she does? Every video she sits there wearing camel toe pants with her knees close to her face, with her legs up and her legs spread. She talks about Israel being the greatest place. Alexa, second light off.
Okay.
I'm falling asleep now. Good night, everybody. It's too good to fall asleep. I'm too tired. I wonder what time it is. I'm gonna brush these cocksucking teeth. I'm tired. Alexa, light off. No, and I miss bread. Okay. Good night.